At least this week. Not actually. Were you able to watch at all from last week when I did the live? I was in the back seat of the car.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot about that. Yeah, so anybody joining in who tried tuning in last week for the live, we were out in Florida and I had two brand meetings and like God, what one thing like just totally led to the next, and it's like you have to
Yeah, I did. I did the live stream from the back seat of the rental car in the parking lot of a McDonald's. So if that's not commitment, I don't know what is.
but you weren't on YouTube, you were just on Twitter, right?
What happened?
Were you just going live from Twitter or something?
Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, we had to use
Yeah. Speaking of
two
which,
different phones and everything too. It like you can't stream on a computer, so it was we did what we could. But.
Yeah, speaking of which, we're now live on Instagram. Thanks for the reminder. What's going on, everyone? So anybody joining in here, we go live every Wednesday. Drop your questions in the chat if you have them. More than happy to answer them. I'm having a hard time getting into SmartScout. Usually we source brands actually in SmartScout, but there seems to be some type of a server error. So what we're probably going to do instead, if I can't get in the next couple of minutes, is we're probably just going to source through Keep a Product Finder. And it serves a similar purpose. It's not quite as streamlined as SmartScout, just with the UI in my opinion, but yeah, I mean, accomplishes pretty similar goal.
Yeah, I mean the layout isn't necessarily as good and as clean, but when it comes to the information, I think the quality is still there.
Right. Yep. We were just talking about this before. I think it's really relevant in that, like, remember we were talking about how, like, brand direct wholesale and what it is and what the model is rooted in is it's like relationships, so like being a reseller versus building a relationship. And I was kind of talking about how, like, with the relationships, it's like you never know what is going to come from a relationship. Like the ROI on a relationship is just so freaking valuable. Like we've seen it time and time again. It goes beyond just money. Like new opportunities, things present themselves that you never would have even thought of existed simply by building, a long-term relationship with your brand partners.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to a group earlier today about that same exact thing. And I was comparing it to like your actual relationships, like in your life, like your romantic relationships and stuff. And like there's such big parallels between brand direct wholesale and stuff like that because it takes work and it's hard. And cultivating a relationship, you have to sometimes do things, make sacrifices that, maybe you might not want to make, but it's worth it if you can develop a healthy one, which a lot of brands, that's what it is. It's looking to develop a healthy relationship because you can get so much fulfillment and in this case, money and, out of that relationship if you really work on it.
Yeah. Like how many times have we seen the invaluable ROI on brand agreements, on just, getting to know other people? Like, one of the meetings I had last week in Florida, for instance, there was no intention of the meeting. It was literally just to meet these people face to face for the first time. It was like there really wasn't a direct reason. Like we didn't go into it with like an agenda or anything. It was more so just to like, solidify things, right? And like I don't know, I don't think, like, people say it's old fashioned. I really don't think it is. I think it's just like when you meet somebody face to face, shake their hand, talk to them in person, you see each other's mannerisms. It's just like there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I don't know if people think it's necessarily old fashioned. I mean, I think the thing that I've seen is that people will look at it and be like, why are you doing that? Because like granted, like this is a relationship that we've had for a long time, so it makes sense. But sometimes we'll even do stuff like that when all there is this little glimmer of hope that we're holding on to. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And we're like, we're going to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that we put everything into this relationship to potentially have a good outcome. And I think
Right.
people look at that and they're like, that's like craziness. Like it's borderline like delusional. Like, why would you do that? But you just get this sense after a while.
Right. Yeah. No, it's exactly that. It's just like, and like with some of our relationships, it's just, it's crazy to think that what they develop into, you know. Um, I was thinking about something, but I lost my train of thought.
I was going to say every call starts the same, like no matter what they've developed into over the years. Like every call starts out exactly the same. And that's a point that I tried to hammer home is if you're reaching out to brands and you're not finding success or whatever it might be, you're getting rejection. Well, every call that we had that now is like a 6-figure exclusive started out the same exact way. There wasn't some magic thing that we said or did that made that account and that relationship so valuable. It was just like you never know. Literally every single call you make, the next call could be the opening to changing your life with wholesale and with Amazon. And you just don't know that unless you keep doing it.
Right. Yeah. We got a question coming in on Instagram from Art Dodger FBA. Are you going to be doing the AI prompts to find suppliers today?
Oh, so I'm assuming that was from because I mentioned that today on Corey's call, the wholesale network call. That's not like that's a YouTube video that's in the pipeline for us that should be out in the next month. Um, so I would definitely keep an eye on that. That's not going to be
Yeah.
out today. It's kind of
But
too much
just
information
kind of
to.
going off that, like, high level, like, what are a couple ways we're using AI in our
Mhm.
wholesale business?
Yeah. So one thing that I mentioned today on that call was the ability to find, and the prompts are in the video when it comes out. So the ability to find contact information of suppliers that is not on their website or on at a quick glance on Google. So the difference with ChatGPT and AI softwares is that it is learning. It's not just searching for a product query, right? So you're able to find supplier information that's not necessarily the most accessible. The second one is compliance. So looking from a compliance perspective and Amazon's terms of service and submitting a prompt to check the boxes of whether a product is compliant or not with TOS is the second one, that we've really been using a lot. And then there's a couple others. I forget the one that I put in the video exactly, but those are the two big ones. Let me actually just pull it up just so AI listing image creation is kind of in its infancy. A lot of times they come out looking like crazy butchered photos. Let me
Yeah.
see what the
I think
third
there's
one.
other AIs. I'm not too deep in the rabbit hole of AI, but I think there's other AI softwares out there that'll create you really good like infographics. I've seen some copywriters
Yeah,
post some stuff about that. It's like it's quite amazing that you can have you know, like you could literally create full email sequences and, um,
yeah.
imagery and infographics and whatnot.
And the third one from that video that's going to be coming out, I looked it up, was the ability to create more personalized and um, non-robotic sounding email templates. So every brand is different products, background. You can use AI to do that stuff, and there's templates for that as well. So that video will be coming out. Um, it's in the pipe. Like I said, maybe the next month or so.
Yeah, and wasn't there a thing about AI having or ChatGPT having an update to not be so positive, reinforcing for what
Yeah,
you're
I was
doing?
talking about that. Yeah, it's every idea that you say, it's like you're like, I want to like
Yeah,
destroy my entire house
it's
and
like
burn it to
great
the
idea.
ground. And it's like, yeah, it's like good idea. Here's the
Let's
steps on how
let's
to do
figure
this.
out a methodical way to start destroying your house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, Tim, what's going on? Good to have you back as always. Did you all have fun in Florida trip? Would you all make a video about the experience and why you recommend it for others? Future planning. Yeah, we had a great time in Florida as always. Weather's beautiful. Got a chance to network. Did a lot of good quality work as well. It's just something about being in that South Florida atmosphere where it's like, I don't know, the endorphins are going and you're just like 5 times more productive, I feel like.
Yeah, we worked a lot, um, probably the majority of the time, actually. So it was, if we were to post a video about the experience, it would probably more so just be like us at our laptops. But yeah, I mean, it's a great environment.
More so we were working on stuff for you guys, content and
Yeah,
information and just, trying to provide you guys with the best possible information out there on brand direct wholesale. We got the chance to shoot some podcasts with some very well respected people in the space, so stuff will be coming out in the pipeline. Just trying to figure out how to provide you guys with as much value as possible, because that's how as you guys know, that's what we're all about here. And one thing I talked about was like bridging the gap in information of brand direct wholesale. I think a lot of people getting into this business are it's like they automatically think they need to start with doing distributors. And the truth is that we started from day one going directly to brands, not really by intention. It's just kind of how we went into this business model. And so because of that, it's the model that we know the best. And that's what we want to help you guys do, is that, whether you're doing arbitrage right now, um, transitioning to wholesale, or you're maybe just starting your Amazon business, going straight in for wholesale, there's no reason why you can't contact brands directly. Like, you don't need to be an expert in listing optimization or running ads or understand the Amazon platform in its entirety. You just need to quite literally be willing to pick up the phone and put in the reps and learn from one call to the next.
mm.
And this on these lives is where we uncover how to find those profitable brands.
Kind of leads right into that next question there from Tim. Just like what the thoughts on the current brand direct opportunity and landscape. I mean, we go to enough events, right? Like where we see a lot of this shift almost um, towards this brand direct mindset, I think, in the past couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. A lot of the industry is shifting brand direct for several reasons. I mean, a big reason is that Amazon has gotten so compliance heavy and strict, and just, with invoicing and gating and whatnot. And it just gets harder and harder to sell on Amazon as a fly by night seller. Um,
Mm.
there was a time and a place for that, and it was in 2020 and 2021. Um, Everyone and their brother was selling on Amazon, and they really tightened the ship up towards the tail end of that, and years after. So it's like that quite literally will never, like, I don't think we'll ever see a time like that again, at least in our lifetime. But for now, it's really all about buckling down and doing things the right way on Amazon. And the right way is either working directly with brands, or being the brand, so starting your own brand. Um, we've even talked about like acquisition too. It's like, how do we acquire one of our brand partners, or acquire a percentage of their business? Now, we have another business going, right? Like, these are the types of things that the conversations that we're having and where the industry is headed. I've had multiple conversations about this stuff with, just people at MSC and whatnot. It's like, um, this is higher level stuff, but higher level stuff has never been so attainable for regular people than today.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The barrier to entry is still low, but the barrier to success is high. Corey actually said that today when I was talking with him. So I kind of just want to take that from him.
Yeah.
I think that just in general, like another thing I saw on Twitter the other day was someone was asking the question and said, for any bigger seller, anyone that's been in the space for years now, how are you doing it? How are you continuing to run a profitable business with Amazon, with a placement fees, and then they change the reimbursements and then they lose your inventory? Like, how are you maintaining any sort of profitability in the business? And I think it just comes down to like a newer seller not really treating it like the business yet. Because yes, we all have to deal with the same things, but the difference is as you're growing and learning, you're developing other systems and other things that help you counteract that, as well as you're, closing more accounts and you have more revenue and there's more money to work with. But hobby sellers are starting to become a thing of the past for sure now.
Yeah, it's going by the wayside. It really
Which
is.
is good. It's good for the people that are taking it seriously.
Right. And arbitrage, while it's a good stepping stone business model, it is very much so rooted in that hustler's mindset, you know. And nobody's saying you need to run a full-fledged, 60-hour a week business right off on day one, right? If you're just starting out, it's about taking small and incremental steps, right, to get to where you're going. Tim coming in here with another question. I had already determined that I was going to be going the distributor to brand direct route, and I'm very much so intrigued by your idea that we can go brand direct right away. Any immediate suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, distributors are great as long as they're authorized. But it's like you're comparing like apples to oranges. Like it's a very different approach.
Yeah,
So I think that if you're going to do one, learn that one first. Obviously, we're biased towards brand direct, but distributors are great. But I'd focus on one or the other because it's totally different.
totally. Yeah, rake and profit. Thanks for popping in Instagram, man. It was great to see you out in Miami.
Steve.
Firing away here. We're probably going to pop into. So why don't we pull up Keep a Product Finder here for a moment, because that's really where it all starts, right? Like we have these conversations about brands and exclusivity and acquiring brands, right? Like all exciting stuff, but at the end of the day, it starts very small, which is sourcing your first lead, right? So I'm pulling an audible because I can't get into SmartScout right now. Actually, wait a minute. Looks like I'm up in SmartScout.
Is it going now?
It
Because I
just
tried to get
popped up.
into it.
Literally right when I said I was pulling an audible, it just came up.
Scott's watching the live stream and he's like, he's like, we gotta get it fixed.
Yeah, I'm not getting the best of service here.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I mean, we can use either or.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pop in to Keep a Product Finder for the time being.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like the criteria for sourcing, whether you are storefront stalking, whether you are using SmartScout, whether you're using Keep a Product Finder, like the important thing is understanding the underlying concepts because at that point you can do anything.
Right. Can you see my screen here?
Yep.
Okay. So very similar metrics that we're looking at here. Sorry. Yeah, very similar metrics we're looking at here in comparison to SmartScout. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my average 90-day rank to a maximum of 100,000. That way I filter out my products that don't sell so well. And the nice part about this is that over in the right-hand corner here, it will just, as you set these filters, it'll like narrow down the scope. So we just, I think, went from like 22 million to 19 million. So I want to set my average 30-day price to at least $18. And you can play with this. Like you can bring that down. We talked about in the past about how, $9 sell price. There's a sweet spot there sometimes. For search result purposes, I'm going to check out of stock on Amazon. So like, look, I've went from 19 million products down to 8 million products. It's still way too many products, but we're going to continue to filter this down. The next thing I want to look at is I can go ahead and just set this as well. So buy box price and new third-party FBA price to a minimum of 18. What else do we want? So let's see here. So what I like to do is I like to set is none of. So we're category agnostic, which we talk about all the time, meaning we sell in any category, but we try to avoid certain categories. So like some of the categories that we avoid are clothing, electronics, and then there's like a couple of the obvious ones, which is like ones that we'll never be able to sell, like Alexa and Audible, things like that, movies. Yeah, and that'll pretty much hit on your big ones there, so you rule that out. What else do we have here? So now we get to the offer count, right? So we want at least 2 sellers on it to try to rule out our private label or brand exclusive products. You can set a top filter here, but again, this goes back to like transactional relationship versus or transactional versus like rebuilding the relationship, right?
Yeah. And we talk about that at a certain point where it's like there's a certain amount of sellers that we want on a listing, but then there becomes a certain point at which so many sellers on the listing is almost a positive thing because you're like, this brand has a problem. So setting a top, isn't something we really like to do, like a top line limit.
Yeah. Because it like arguably that opens the window of opportunity is if you have like a lot of sellers on that listing, that's a problem. So it opens our window up of opportunity for brand exclusivity, right? We're not going to jump on a listing with 30 sellers on it and make money. It's never.
I was just going to ask you what was your, because that's my number for like this brand has a problem is like 30, maybe even a little less, 25.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the brand needs to have 1 seller on the listing.
Well, not telling you're telling me.
Like anything above 1 is a problem, right?
Yeah. I had a call with someone today, and the brand owner was basically like, I looked at our competitors, and all of our top competitors have 1 or 2 sellers, and one of them is them, or they have an exclusive relationship. And he was like, we have to emulate what they want to do, what they're doing, if we want to compete.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's the way it goes. So a nice, interesting tool here that Keep a Product Finder allows you to do is if you have a seller's store, you can take the seller ID of that storefront, which is found in the URL up here, and you can copy that seller's store, the URL, or excuse me, the seller ID token, and then paste it in here, and then run your Keep a Product Finder based on the store. So you'll actually want to get rid of all the filters if you're going to do that, because you're already filtering out a ton of products. You could keep a couple of them, like, with multiple sellers or, certain sales rank, things like that. But then you can just literally hit find products and run that specific storefront, which will save you a little bit of time. Next thing is bought in the past month. So like we'll just set like at least 100 units bought in the past month. Yeah, a whole bunch of things you could set here. Like you even set lower high return rate. One thing that's interesting that they allow you to do is that we were talking about this the other day, is that you can filter out if a brand does or does not have A+ brand content. So that hits on our underrepresentation, right?
Yep, exactly. Could also filter out if it's an adult product or not. I've never.
Yeah.
I didn't know on that. That's funny. It's that's the one thing actually. Like I joke about that is one thing that I find if you're working with brands, if you're contacting a brand, they will look at your store. in a lot of cases, that is something that generally people don't want to be associated with.
100%
Just kind
agree.
kind of a word of advice. Any adult products, anything like that, I would stay away from just on the basis of that.
Yep. 100% agree. I think that is totally a cash grab play for you in that, like, not you, like anybody watching.
Yeah, for me.
Like, you just got like
Yeah,
all these adult products that
yeah,
you're
you
hiding
got
out.
me.
It's like, um, no, but because there was obviously, shit comes across your desk over the years, and it's like,
Mhm. We've had it.
oh, look at this. You can make some money on this. But then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. These brands are looking at our store. So it's
Right.
like, I don't want them to be seeing that stuff.
Yeah, we've had that, and it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So, nevertheless, you can rule out A plus brand content, meaning the listing does not have A plus brand content. And you can even set it so that if the manufacturer created it, so if the brand created it, you could say no, right? Or yes, alternatively. Um, if the brand created it themselves, chances are they have control over their Amazon presence. If they have A plus content, period, they have control, but maybe they are working with a third party to do it. So that just got our products way down, right? So now we're like niching down. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hit find products. And we're still going to get hit with big brands, right? Like that's inevitable. So like you already have big brands like Aloha and Huggies and, phone cases and stuff like that. Mrs. Myers, right? Like all big brands. So what I like to do is I'm just going to kind of go all the way to the back here and just work my way backwards. So one thing I don't see on Keeper Product Finder is the ability to not have Chinese sellers like you can in SmartScout.
Mm.
I don't think there's a spot in here to do that. BCAAs. 100 plus bought. And then the other thing you can look at is like the way the product is being stocked and distributed is you can see you can see the stock count here. So it's like if somebody has onesie, twosie or units, then maybe they're getting it arbitrage, right? Versus if they have like 1,000 plus, that tells you they're definitely stocking it. So like, what is this? Filter. Right, here we go again with the filters. It's like I'm seeing another potential opportunity here. And I mean, the product's selling 500 units at $76. Not bad.
Yeah, big opportunity right there.
Right. And so I don't have my Keepa extension in, but let's say I did. Just pull this. So pretty solid here. I mean, you're looking at 500 sold in the past month, consistent price for the most part. I mean, it goes a little bit up and down, but that's mostly merchant filled offers. What do you think about this one?
I mean, points to all signs of contacting the brand for me. I mean, it's also got a merchant fulfilled buy box, which is interesting because it may be more industry specific, but that doesn't mean, yeah, looks like we've got some non industry specific on there too.
So I
Potential.
just opened that, what appeared to be in my mind a non-industry
Yeah.
specific store, right? So I click on that. It says here, okay, plumbing, so maybe HVAC. It looks like they might be industry specific, but like I found a lot of these brands that sell to like businesses that are doing B2B plays and then it's like, sold in the aftermarket or whatnot.
Mhm.
There's opportunity in the D2C on Amazon with these
Yeah.
brands because they have no
It's not their
idea what's
focus.
going on there.
Yeah, it's not their focus. Question in here on YouTube says, "What does a merchant fulfilled buy box tell you? Can you expand on that?"
Yep. Absolutely. So basically, let's jump back to the listing in order to illustrate this point. So you have two offers that are on the listing, right? You have an FBA offer, which is fulfilled out of Amazon's warehouse, and you have an FBM offer, which is fulfilled out of the third-party seller's warehouse. So I know this is an FBM offer fulfilled by merchant because it says ships from Same Day Supply Inc. and sold by Same Day Supply Inc., meaning it's shipped out of their warehouse and it's sold by them, versus an Amazon FBA fulfilled offer where it says ships from Amazon coming out of Amazon's warehouse, sold by direct supply store, sold by that seller, right? So what is basically the difference between the two? Well, aside from logistics and where the inventory is coming from, a lot of times they play a pivotal role in who gets the buy box. So a lot of times we'll see an FBA offer in the buy box more times than a merchant fulfilled offer. But the main reason that you're seeing a merchant fulfilled offer in the buy box here is because the price is way lower. So you got a $76 price and the FBA offer is priced $10 above them. So that is likely going to, they're not going to likely get the buy box.
Yeah, it's also not Prime eligible yet, the FBA offer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Is it? No, I'm just not logged into Prime. It's Prime eligible. Yeah, Prime members get free shipping. So, yep, that's the difference. If you have any other further questions on that, pop them in the chat. But basically, that hits on FBA versus FBM. FBA is way more scalable than FBM because you're just shipping bulk inventory into Amazon, whereas with FBM, you have to worry about onesie, twosie orders. You also have to deal with all the customer service if, like a customer reaches out,
Yeah. And it also gives the perspective of if I can sell this product at $78 or $79 or $76, like something around where that buy box price is now, then I'm virtually guaranteeing that I'm going to get the buy box as an FBA offer if the entire listing is filled with FBM offers. So if everyone's priced at $76.61 and everyone is an FBA offer, there is a chance that we're going to share the buy box and wait for it to rotate, as opposed to if we have the FBA offer at $76.61, virtually guaranteed to take the buy box. And so it gives me more confidence when purchasing the item.
Right, exactly. And if the brand is interested, you could provide them with value here. And the reason why I say if the brand is interested is because like our value is based off of what the brand needs and desires, right? A lot of these businesses that are, doing B2B HVAC plays and things like that, their D2C like the images on their Amazon thing, like their Amazon presence might not be a big deal. You just got to inquire with the brand and determine what their pain points are and if those things matter to them, right? But if they do, there is opportunity here to improve the listing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
value. We talk about that all the time. Value is subjective,
What was that?
I said we talk about that all the time. Value is subjective, right? So it really just depends on if it's something that the brand wants and cares about. That's when you should implement it.
Right. Yeah. And it's all about selling the vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could pitch them on a title all day long, but it's not like the title that is getting them to sign an exclusive agreement. It is like, It's the conviction that comes with it. It's the vision of what, you're looking to accomplish for the brand. Right.
Yeah. Because especially in these sorts of situations in which it's a company that, doesn't necessarily, I'm just assuming here, right? But the company doesn't probably care about a lot of this stuff because they're industry specific and it's HVAC and it's just kind of how those types of companies are, and so coming into it with the perspective of like, we're going to fix Amazon, they probably don't care, but it's like, how can you support other elements of their business? That's what matters to them.
Right. Translating it in their language, How
Hmm.
does their Amazon presence support their distributors and their brick and mortar stores and their HVAC guys, right? If you can communicate that language to them, now you're getting somewhere.
Yeah, I love working with the commercialized products. I find that they're very, once you're able to get through to them, they're very easy to deal with. It's just like commercial versus residential, like real estate. Like I'd rather be dealing with commercial. Same thing. It's less headaches. I find that it's less maintenance because they're focused on other things, and Amazon is a second priority to them in
Hmm.
a lot of cases, which can be good for you because it's a low maintenance account.
Right. And yeah, I mean, this thing's pulling some good numbers here. You got 500 units bought in the past month. That's $76.
Yeah. So
So
what
I
does that
mean,
come up to?
this is no joke right here. I mean, if you get this account, and this is one of those, again, we found another product the other week, which was an automotive filter. Like,
Yeah.
the riches are in the niches, but more importantly, it's in these unsexy products that are just consistent replenishables that people
Yeah.
order and reorder over and over again.
So at 550, that's what that is per year in revenue. It's $501,600. So that is, I mean, even if you're netting 10% margin on it, you're making 50 grand, you know?
Yep. You just got your average starting salary out of business school
Yep.
off of a
Yep.
filter.
Yeah. It's amazing.
In a perfect world, we were talking about this the other day. We're constantly reviewing and collaborating about business strategy, but it's like in a perfect world, we have 10 accounts. Each of them do $1 million a year in gross,
Yep.
and we do 10 million in sales. Like, I think there's something to be said for consolidating, like, quality over quantity, and consolidating the brands that you work with into, maybe, I don't know, 10, 12, 15, 20 different brands, right? Rather than carrying, thousands and thousands of SKUs. Not that we do that. But rather than carrying thousands and thousands of SKUs, like, there's just a certain level of simplicity involved when, you're working with 10 brands, 15 brands. It's like
Yeah.
having a
There's
map.
something to be said about that, especially as you're scaling. It's like, there is, it's almost like how private label is, right? Where private label, you're not necessarily dealing with, for the most part, right? You're not dealing with hundreds and hundreds of SKUs unless you're absolutely huge in the private label space. But you have to deal with the manufacturing and all those other components that come along with it. With wholesale, if you can really get those key accounts and not have to deal with any of the manufacturer or anything, and just, or it's very low maintenance. It really is.
Yeah. Tim is asking, should we get a website created before reaching out to brands? If so, should we create a category specific website, or how we keep it general so that we don't pigeonhole ourselves in categories?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, our approach is always the category agnostic approach, right? If you want to do it differently, you can. Um, and industry specific websites are great. A website isn't a necessity. It's just you get caught with your tail between your legs when they ask for one and you don't have one. But it's just a form of showing legitimacy.
Yeah, and that website's going to present, value propositions and what you do as a company, show them some legitimacy behind your organization. Um, but again, like, the more you can redirect the conversation into actually having an open and honest dialogue with the brand, the more the relationship starts to become the focus, and the less these things in the background matter. Website, facility, right? A lot of you guys watching might be probably working out of your house, which, as we were for years, but we were still shipping to my facility. I'll call this team and I'll coordinate that, right? Like, presenting a certain level of legitimacy. Um, and you don't need to be a massive like business or an expert to do any of that.
Yeah, in fact, there's actually, I think, value to add not being a massive business, because you're able to give the attentive care that a brand direct relationship needs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole slew of brands that you can come in with a competitive advantage from, like a Pattern or a Spreetail, or like any of these top 10 Amazon, top 100 Amazon sellers. Like, you can come in and swipe them. We've done it before. You can come
Mm-hmm.
swipe the account, because they're just a number. These brands are just a number to the big, massive Amazon companies,
Yeah.
right? So maybe they have the infrastructure. Maybe they have the sexy websites that, are costing 10 G's a month. Maybe they have all these nice amenities and whatnot. But you have a relationship. And when a relationship is strong, it goes a lot farther than a checkbook.
I was literally having the conversation today with one of our brand owners that was, hey, we're going to cut off this top 100 Amazon seller, but we're afraid that they might, stop buying maybe some of our other products or selling on some of our other channels that we want them to sell on. And I had the conversation of, we've seen it time and time again where there's almost a disinterest. It's quite amazing, actually. The company is treated as such a number, like you said, that the brand will cut them off, and it'll be like okay, whatever. It's like amazing, and it could be a big account for most people, including us. But some of these people doing hundreds and hundreds of millions a year, these businesses, they don't even bat an eye at it. And so the brand's fear is often not justified, because they're not going to get the reaction they think they're going to get.
Yeah, the brand cares way more about the seller than the seller cares about the brand.
Yeah.
And as soon as they have that realization, boop, exclusive opportunity,
Yep.
right? Yeah. John's got a question. SmartScout product finder. Messed around with that a little bit, but haven't done a whole lot in it.
Yeah. The way we source is literally how we do on the lives. Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what we do.
Yeah. And then just going down the rabbit hole from there, right? So, like, we'll pop shit up, we'll open up seller stores, like what, yada, yada. And we have VAs doing all this at this point, but like, that's what we have trained our team to do,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we covered a lot of good, valuable information, especially with brands.
Yeah. Different stuff too with Keep a Product Finder. Kind of different than the normal method that we're using, but still a really valuable one, just because it's
we found a product, right?
Immediately. Well, you found a product. I just sat here.
I mean, it took
But,
me 3 clicks. I set my filter and immediately I found a product.
It was like unbelievable. It was like,
I mean, remember I said I'm going to go to page 100 and I'm going to start there. And then I scrolled 2 lines up and there's a product done. Add it to my sheet. Next.
3 clicks. Yeah.
And then it just, it keeps going. So it's like we spent 5 minutes doing that. Imagine if you spent 5 hours and 5 days and
Have you ever
5 years,
yeah,
and 5 decades?
Yeah. Have you ever, just to end it on like a kind of a funnier note, it made me think of it when you said 3 clicks. Did you ever play? I remember this used to happen like in school when I was younger, because we couldn't access like websites for like games or anything like that. Did you ever play the Wikipedia game? Do you know what that is?
What is that again? Sounds familiar.
The Wikipedia game is when you have, I think it's 7 clicks total so you'll hit the random on Wikipedia and it'll go to whatever. and you have 7 clicks to either get to Jesus or orange. And it's like it gets intense because like you only got 7 clicks and
Yeah.
you better get that pathway right. But yeah, if you've never, I don't know, if anyone's never done that, try
A
it.
few people are going to be looking up Wikipedia games, including myself, probably. Never heard of that. Yeah. So, well, thanks, Tim. It's great having you as always. We're looking forward to chatting with you again next week. I think it was a solid live stream. We covered some good information. We found a brand. We talked about brand exclusivity and how you, as a brand new seller or an arbitrage seller, soon to be a wholesale seller, can start right by sourcing brands. And you saw on this 30-minute call, 40-minute call, whatever it was, how quickly I found a brand, right? Very doable stuff for a beginner.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching on other platforms, make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube and continue to look at the channel. We are putting out more and more information, which we're super excited and proud of. The quality of stuff we're trying to put out for you guys to really be successful in this business model. So appreciate you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, 7 o'clock.
See you next week.
Wednesday.